Oh, I'm just sitting here watching people in this cafe. I don't know why it came to my mind. Like, everything's so fake. Like, how many people are buying Starbucks just because everybody else buys Starbucks, not because it's actually good and it's absolute poisonous? The last time I had Starbucks was 5 years ago in Pensacola, Florida. All right. I noticed that logo on the cup. I was like, hold up. What is this entity that's on the cup of Starbucks? So it's like some kind of mermaid with two tails. All right. That's the god they worship. So, how many people are buying Starbucks because everybody else says it? My aunt, she was like, love, 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 love coffee. It took me a long time to like coffee. And even still today, I like some cocoa mixed in with my coffee. Well, she even said herself that McDonald's coffee was better than Starbucks coffee. And I've heard that from a lot of people because people are looking at the image, they're looking at the aesthetics, they're looking at the popularity, they're not actually looking at the innate value. All right. Everything, like I just saw this guy in this Adidas outfit. I always wanted a pair of those Adidas soccer shoes, but literally have never played soccer in my life. So why do I even want this? Why? I guess it's like the aesthetic of it, and it's like the Adidas 80s tracksuit. It's reminiscent of like hip hop culture and that kind of thing. So again, people are going for the aesthetic of it, but I'm just like, why? And I think I used to too, more so. And it's not that I've completely removed the aesthetics from my life. I often buy things in this color. I often wear this because it's the easiest way to wrap my hair. Although it's the loudest and people are always looking like, I'm like, first off, who said the way that you look is the way that I'm supposed to look? My people are from Africa, all right? This is something that they've been doing for a long time. But because you are so hung up on your aesthetics and what your culture looks like, anything that looks, outside of that is a no-no for you. Which is, I was talking to the South African girl the other day. I went off on her originally. I shouldn't have. But I'm upset because it's like the South Africans, they spend so much time focused on what American black people are doing. Why are you not focused on what's going on in your country? The fact that your colonizers are still there and that you're best friends with them. Why are you best friends with these people who are the descendants of those who moved into your land, took it, you still ain't got your land back? To me, it feels like they're just being friends with you so that they can continue in the land. That's all that is. So, they made these South Africans cut their hair because they said, well, we don't like your hair. We think it's messy. And a lot of South Africans have not recovered from that. So you have a group of people telling you how to look, how to act. And, that would be fine if it was something of relevance. But how are you going to tell somebody to cut their hair, their natural God-given hair, because it looks unkept to you? Who are you? Who are you? And what's so funny to me is I'll be walking or whatever and I'll have my natural hair out and people will start like fixing their hair around me. I don't want your hair. I like my hair. God gave you that hair, your straight hair or your wavy hair, whatever, because it's usually people with straight or wavy hair that do it, because in their mind subconsciously they think that kind of hair is better. This is closest to white proximity. We like it. So they start stroking their hair like, oh, and I'm like, oh, look at what God gave me. All right. So I think it's past the time of adopting the customs of like colonizers. All right, there's a reason why they're miserable. There's a reason why they have to keep building and building and building. Is it not what happened in Babylon with Nimrod? They were trying to build their way to heaven. You cannot be spiritually satiated on the inside, so you have to keep doing things on the outside to satisfy that really is like your spirit is quenched, but you keep trying to satisfy it by satisfying your flesh. It can only go so far, right? That's why I'm like, where was I? I was in Ecuador. and they got all these massage places, and I'm like, it would suck to pay $30 to $60 for a massage and have eternal bliss for 60 minutes and then just go back to the horrid mentality that I was in. Like, so to me, it's not even really worth it. First off, I've never really liked massages to begin with. I'd rather spend 15 minutes in the sauna, or I mean the steam room, not the sauna. I don't like the sauna. But the steam room, you can, I don't know if it's the water in the environment, but it helps clear your mentality and it helps you think straight. And maybe that's why people like massages. I don't know. I can't think straight when some lady is literally kneading my muscles. It hurts. Like, I can't think straight. So, I think they do all these things to try to feel better. It's like a temporary relief. But that's the thing, like, they go right back to making wars or right back to colonizing. What was the point? What was the point? So, there's no peace of mind going on there. And, what can you do? What can you do? I feel like, I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are just going to have to learn the hard way. They're going to have to learn by a lot of war and a lot of death and etc. And it's not going to be a war that they, all right, okay, they could start it, but they're not going to be the ones that finish it. We'll put it that way. So there was a gentleman yesterday that was basically like, you should be happy because of the infrastructure we built. And I was riding through Bogota, like South Bogota. For some reason, the South side is always like the hood side. And I was like, yeah, look at this infrastructure you guys built. These people can't even eat. You put all your stupid stores in here. They painted over them with graffiti and crap. And these people are high and dry, all right? So I told him, I'm like, the infrastructure you built was for you, all right? And I don't even want to say by you, because you sure do hire a lot of Mexicans to build your infrastructure. You sure did enslave a lot of people to build your infrastructure, all right? So the fact that your mentality says, we built this, even though we built it off the backs of other people, we built it, yeah, no, all right, no. It's a no for me. So all this pompousness, I gotta have my Starbucks. Miss me with that. Miss me with that. What's crazy is I came from this retreat. Well, I was gonna serve it, but God had told me to leave, hence why I'm leaving. And the best food that I had being in Colombia for like the 2 weeks I was in Colombia was literally at this retreat with these two gentlemen just cooking whatever that they had available. And so it's just so fascinating to me because I'm like, I look at the reviews on the restaurants and I'm like, this one's got 4.7 stars, and then you get the meal and it's like the blandest. So it's like, how much are people just pumping things up? How much did somebody get paid to give that Google review? Because I'll tell you what, I went to this hostel in Montanitas, Ecuador, and this hostel literally had like 9 out of 10, I don't know. And then you go to the Google ratings and you literally will see all these like one sentence, oh, it's the best, oh, it's the greatest, oh, it's wonderful, oh, it's, and it's like, okay, these look like they're paid, right? Thank God for you, I was sick and could not move, otherwise I would have jumped ship on that hostel. But yeah, paid reviews, and so they ain't even honest. They done sold their souls to the devil, and so they got minions that will come along and give them good ratings and all that kind of stuff. So the world is not truthful, it's not honest, it can't be honest. The natural man cannot submit itself to spiritual things. He just can't. And so he's constantly looking for things to satisfy his flesh. That's why we got all the 7 deadly sins. What is it? Gluttony, vanity, envy, I don't know. But you can find them all on TikTok. You can find all on Instagram. Instagram is nothing but nakedness, so your sexual immorality, nothing but clothing, your vanity, nothing but food, your gluttony. You know, it's gossip. So your gossip kind of falls into envy and jealousy, in my opinion, because a lot of people are gossiping because they harbor those spirits. They have no respect for their fellow mankind. So you can find it all in there, and that's what moves the world. That's what moves the fleshly man. All right, everything for appearances. Even at the retreat, this happens to me a lot. This has been happening to me since I was a kid. One person does not like you, and so they go and they gossip about you, right? And then all of a sudden you notice that other people's attitudes toward you change, even though you have done nothing to them personally. So it was like, I guess I had made the manager mad because I asked if there was milk. It's amazing with these people. They can want something and ask for it, it's no problem. But when you want something and ask for something, you're doing too much. It's always double-sided with them. So continuing. So I guess he took that the wrong way and then told the other dude, and the dude just kind of started ignoring me. And you know, this is the thing. This is a Vipassana retreat. It's supposed to be about seeing things as they are and metta, which is love. But they can't do it. There's no spirit of God there for them to do it. They can sit there. They have meditated. They will sit there and make fun of you because you might be having a bad day, talking about, oh, you're not meditating on my level. And I'm sitting here thinking, but if you were doing what you were supposed to be doing in meditation and practicing metta, all right, love, then you would not be saying such a thing. That's called spiritual snobbery, all right? And it's a real thing when people do not have the spirit of God. I remember this one girl when, maybe the second time I did the meditation years ago, she was cool at first. And then I think I started talking to her about how, you know, people were making fun of me or whatever the deal is. And she whispers to her friend, I don't know why she's acting like this. She just got done doing the 10-day meditation. And it reminds me of the book of Job, right? Where Job, was it Job that said that his friends were worthless comforters? This is something that I came to understand, and even more so recently. When someone is in distress, he says, visit the widows and orphans in their distress. That's what he says. So it's just wild to me that we're missing out on this, you know, in this so-called, this Dhamma Vipassana meditation. If somebody's in distress, comfort them. I had to do that one time, and it was like the biggest stress reliever for me, because this girl, I was in Knoxville, and she's like, I don't know, she's like gay, but then has a child, but then maybe she had an STD, and she was living on the street, and she was doing drugs. But it was like, she would always come and help in that, and so I have respect for her. And it was so cold outside one night, and I was walking to the bus stop, I think to go to work or something, and she was like, can you help me? My hands are too cold to button up my coat. And I was like, yeah, I'll come over and help you. And that was like really the first time I felt like this is what it means to help, to be hands-on help. It was a really nice feeling. And you know, it's something that reminded me of my mom, because this is what a lot of nurses do. They're a help in time of need. They're a hands-on help. They will do things like wipe somebody's butt. I'm personally not taking it that far. God will have to tell me. I will have to hear it audibly. But there are people that are endowed to do this. That is a very, very special gifting. Very, very, very special. I've always said that nursing is a special gifting. It takes certain people to do this kind of thing. The fact that you can just be so selfless and caring of other people, you cannot tell me that that does not come straight from God, even if a nurse doesn't know that. So I felt like that was my 15 minutes of fame. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was nice to button up somebody else's coat that was in need, and not something that I think that I was used to doing. Like, I've done things like pray for people and give them a word of encouragement and all this kind of stuff. You can do that from 10 feet away, but this was like up close and personal. And that was the thing that I felt like is causing so much separation between people as I was traveling. Because there would be one thing that happened, like almost I love wearing wide leg pants, but I promise to God, I'm always tripping over them. And I tripped up some stairs, and this guy like physically helped me up. And it's like you don't really see too much of that, right, anymore. There's not a lot of hands-on help. Actually, I was watching a video the other day, and they were pretending to like hijack this girl, her purse, and everybody just kept walking past. And then I don't know what they're trying to do, but then the black guy stops and he's like, get off of her, you know. I don't know. I think they're trying to give the image that only like black people help and that kind of stuff, which, yeah, a lot of black people help, but we can't say that other people aren't helping as well. So we live in a state of fear. And again, it comes from lack of God. And so if something were happening like that, we would stand back and we would look and we would keep walking. So everything is really stemming from this lack of spirits, lack of God in people's lives. And so instead of chasing after God, they just keep chasing after things, chasing after Starbucks, ignoring God. I don't know how people be ignoring God in the workplace, man. How do you sit there and just throw people under the bus and lie and cheat and try to all sorts of stuff? It boggles me, because I'm like, how can you keep going like with this trajectory? It don't really make sense. It's like, eventually it seems like you would come to your end. But I think the Bible even says something about that, how, you know, the wicked will continue doing wicked, and people will look on and be like, well, how come nothing's happening to them? And then, you know, their end will happen very abruptly type deal. So this is what, I don't want to say I'm waiting for it, but I'm like, how can you keep going on like this without, so I think it's going to be a time we don't know. That's all.